Hey y'all, I'm trying out this new recording system for our team meetings rather than doing stuff in person. We're going to go ahead and give this a test, so if you can, give me some feedback down in the comments. What I'm going to be doing is I'm not going to have, as you can see, anything on the actual YouTube video. It's just going to be a symbol of TSYM. So while you are listening to what we're going to be going over on this one, I want you to type some notes or some comments or just anything what you're thinking or questions or anything that you need to say out to us. It should help us getting some feedback back from you and in general getting your guys' questions answered so you have a better idea of not only where we're going but things that are important to you. This is also your chance to send us feedback. We've been doing surveys in the past, and while the surveys are awesome, we don't do them constantly, and sometimes we just need to put information out to you guys. So once again, while you're listening to this, if you could just scroll down, open up a comment, and just take any notes or whatever things that you need to communicate to myself or the leadership or just in general to the command structure, and we will make sure that it gets out to the people that you're talking to. So let's go ahead and get right down to business. The main reason that I went ahead and pulled the trigger on this was because we've been noticing a certain amount of burnout, not just from SOS, though mainly SOS. TSYM in general has been having a lot of burnout scenarios. A lot of people really just, I don't know, just kind of bored out of the grind, that sort of stuff. And fighting Tier 1 and fighting BG, while it makes us better, has been going on for months now, 4 of them to be exact, and that can take its toll. So I just want to go and address that really quick. TSYM in general has been doing awesome in Tier 1, and even we've been seeing some burnout. So the other teams and other groups that we've been working with have expressed their issues with it. Thankfully, off hours of NA, it's a little less brutal, but a lot of the NA groups are having some serious times trying to keep their team morale high while maintaining a long fight against BG, and this is a long fight. And so I want to just address this really quick. You've heard that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. This is the longest fucking marathon in the world. We've been at this for something like 15 weeks or something like that, and we've made no progress against BG. We've had a couple times where we came close, but I feel like sometimes those close calls actually cause us more attrition than otherwise. So I wanted to address the whole idea of burnout. For most of you, you're like me. Either I'm sort of into a game and I play it an hour or two a week, or I'm so completely into a game that I dive 14 hours into it every day and forget to eat and sleep. So that can't be this game. Let me just put it that to you that way. If that is, you're burning straight for a burnout completely. Like you'll push hard for a couple weeks and then I'll never see you again. And that's the last thing that we want. So managing it for the long fight, I would highly recommend that you guys play some other games in your off time or other modes. We got some people who jump into SPVP. They've been enjoying that. We got some people who have been doing some PvE stuff. I still haven't bought my Griffin. Maybe I'll get around to that. Myself, I've been doing Dying Light. I played a little bit of that over the last week or so, and that's been great for my off times, and it has not interrupted my field times at all. In fact, I've been able to field at the times that we've needed to every single time. The issue comes when I field my times, and I field before that time, and then I'm under another commander after that time, and then I'm pushing till 1 in the morning, and then the commander tag goes down, and I'm like, okay, well, there's no commander tag, so I got to tag up, and that's where my burnout would come from. You have your own specific situation. So the first thing I will say is, during your off time when we're not fielded, really consider whether or not you want to put your time into Guild Wars 2, or maybe like we had a recommendation of Overwatch. Vermintide 2 is coming out on March 8th. I'm really hoping I can pull some TSYM together for that. It's a smaller group. I think it's 4-player co-op against AI. Really think about, I don't give a crap if it's Minecraft, I don't care what it is. Find something that you can do to balance out your time so that you can be here in 2 or 3 months when we make the transition over to Camelot or Crowfall. If you have an idea for a game that you think would be awesome and a lot more fun if TSYM in general had stepped up to it and came over and played with you, throw it in the comments. I know some people wanted to do a resurgence on Ark. I know some people are pretty pumped with Vermintide with me. There's a lot of different ways that we could do this. I would like to, in my free time when we're managing that burnout, do additional stuff with you guys, but sometimes that doesn't always work out. So go ahead and, again, throw that down in the comments if you have an idea for a game that, like, if TSYM dropped on, it would be off the chain, and let me know. I will just warn you, if ESO is your default on that one, we should definitely have a chat, because there's some definite issues with ESO that we slammed into when we went there before we came to Guild Wars 2. That might be a deal breaker for many of you. So, like I said, that'll be an internal chat that if you're thinking along those lines. Now, for TSYM in specific, I would recommend our other commanders as well as myself. We're going to be going for more fun fights rather than PPT. This is just simply, and for many of you that have been with me on EVG, you've seen this a lot as well. This needs to happen a little bit for us to kind of maintain our pace. When we field, at least during Prime NA, the best and the brightest of all the servers show up as well, and we fight the full brunt of them. In that time frame, trying to do both that and take tier 3 objectives is just, that's a recipe for disaster. Like, we're going to have really hard times with it. So, I myself, and I do recommend some of my other guys, like, really focus on the fights, really focus on going and finding a good engagement. If there are none, then right on, go for it. Just so you know, there is a discussion in the guild lead chat over on the SOS area, whether or not we will try to give our server a little bit of a breakdown in tier 2. So if that does happen, you'll get some information out there about us intentionally trying to forego the PPT side of things. I'm kind of a fan for it because the server's kind of torched, and giving them time to recharge their batteries, giving them time to show off how good they've gotten down in tier 2 and beat some ass. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I'm also of the mind that I honestly don't think we can. I think there's too many free agents. There's too much SOS that will step up, and either they care too much about what the people on SOS would think if they, let's say, lost a tier 3 keep or a tier 3 tower. And of course, you know, you've seen it before. If a tier 3 keep or something like that drops, map chat and team chat get really nasty, and it tends to get hung on a commander's shoulders, while we are less influenced by the general mob rule of the server. Some other guilds are very ruled by that, and so it ends up being one of those things where I think we're going to have a lot of off-hour PPT pushes simply just from a commander's intent to create a lot of goodwill with them, and maybe even push recruitment because, hey, I captured a tier 3 tower or keep or something like that. So, like I said, that's where we're at with that. The other thing that we're kind of holding out to is the restructuring. Now, I know a lot of people are hanging a lot of hopes on this, but again, ANET does not work on our timetable. We work on theirs, and they have a propensity for delay, and there's a very good chance that we may not ever see the restructuring before Camelot drops. It's that kind of long thinking. I hope I'm wrong, I really do, but I think that's probably what we're going to be looking at. So while it's good to hope for that, also think of that as kind of like our potential finish line. If they can start putting a timeline out there of when this will happen, we might see a resurgence just simply from the fact that getting stronger and getting better for that finish line will be a good thing. Also, we are, as of right now, not allying with anybody. TSYM will be its own island. We will approach the restructuring by ourselves. We tend to work better on the solo push anyway, so several of you may have some difficult decisions on which guild that you may want to join when that time comes. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to direct message me, or you can drop them down in the chat as well. But as I understand it, you'll only be able to claim one guild as your World v World guild, and you'll have to stick with that. And with us going solo, and I think a lot of the SOS guilds are trying to recreate an SOS server with their alliance. You may end up being hard pushed for that, but no reason to make issues before they're an issue. Like I said, there's a very good chance we may never see this restructuring. So let's go ahead and put that away. I did want to mention one thing. My burnout, personally, is fine. Several of you have noticed that I've scaled back my hours. This has nothing to do with my burnout. This is 100% because my IRL shit is crazy. My master's program, we have this thing called EdTPA, and it is a massive, like, bureaucratic clusterfuck of things that I gotta do, and reports, and 100-page document. It's nuts. And that's actually due mid-March, and so that's why I've been scaling it back, because that date is coming up very, very quickly. At the end of March, I will be taking over all the classes from my placement, so my time will be very pressed there as well. And so this is just me taking care of myself to make sure that my priorities are set. Real life first, that's always been our motto. It always will be. And this is me managing that. So I should still be able to make resets. I should still be able to make my Monday, Tuesday, hopefully Wednesday runs. And I should be able to field a couple times during the weekend. But my 6-hour runs, unless they're on the weekend, are probably over until summer hits. So we'll see how that works out. But don't worry about me. Like, if you're thinking that, oh well, Coron's burning out because he's talking about this burnout, I am fine. So I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna be kicking ass. I'm gonna be taking names. And I really hope most of you guys can step up to that and manage your burnout in other ways, because I really don't want to lose you during our main runs. Bring it, come correct, and go play some other games or do some other stuff in the off hours. All right, I want to do a brief touch on Camelot. The beta has been announced for 4th of July. We've also, with the actual date that has now been established, there is a big push for the population planning on joining Camelot to find a good team. And you will notice that in Camelot Unchained, we've been getting a lot of recruits. Hey, hello, I joined and I'm looking forward to see you, and stuff like that. Like, be welcoming to them. Make sure that you're engaging on them, especially those of you who are really pumped about Camelot. Like, keep that fire going, keep that energy going. Just like burnout on Guild Wars 2, maintaining a hype for a game this far out is hell. I still refer back to my time when I was Guild Wars 2 hyped for almost 2 years when they announced it at E3, and for 2 years I maintained it, and it torched me. It fucked me. So make sure you're managing that. Maintain the hype, but at the same time be realistic about it. Be really cautious about how into it you get, because you cannot play it. And at the end of the day, we need to maintain Guild Wars 2 presence. So I can't have you so hyped about another game that you can't play the current game that we're on. I need you on Guild Wars, because our roster that we're going to be building on Guild Wars, and the skills and the energy that we're creating on Guild Wars, it needs to be able to ride all the way up until Camelot drops. So if you're bringing in new recruits, make sure you introduce them to the group. Make sure they drop in here and they say hi. If you have questions about the Camelot launch, this is all I'm going to touch on it. It doesn't have a release date, and as far as I know, even the initial betas are still going to be like technical betas, which means we're not going to be getting on there. We're not going to be building metas or anything like that. It's pretty much going to be finishing out that stuff. But when they do actually have a game that we can play, we will do a full-scale launch on there every time they do a beta weekend. We're going to build metas. We're going to be trying out all 3 factions. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff that's going to be happening with that. But we're going to be doing that for a weekend and then right back over to Guild Wars 2 when we're done. So it's going to be kind of slingshotting back and forth. Keep that in mind. So once again, if you have any questions about the Camelot stuff, you should be looking at a comment thread on the YouTube channel here. Go ahead and post it there, and we'll get that going for you. Now, overall, the guild is growing. The guild is growing great. In no small part to Fearant. He's been pushing it hard on both ends. I'm a little concerned about his burnout, but it seems like he's got the command bug, and I know what that's like, so I haven't been too worried about it. Every time I've chatted with him, he's still enjoying command, and he's getting pretty damn good. I'm hearing a lot of great buzz from him. Keep giving him your support. If you're one of my people that has not actually had a chance to give him a whirl, go. Give him a shot. He's starting to get to the point where he's using TSYM meta more and more, and there's a lot of strength to be had from that. So, awesome job to Fearant. Keep up the great work. He is also one of our guys that's super focused on Camelot, but as you can see, he's making an impact here. Keep pushing it, guys. Now, for those of you who are new, or even longtime members, make sure your meta builds are all good to go. That's the biggest thing that we need you guys to do. Make sure your meta build is taken care of. We've been seeing a lot more push towards some of the classes that we needed in the past. I'm starting to find a lot more balanced runs on my runs, and that's been working great. Our meta is bumping. It is doing great. Sometimes we get screwed because it's a mix of Pain Train and Pirate Ship. But I'll always consider the fact that when we get screwed over because we face a pirate ship scenario with a pure pirate ship and we lose, always consider the fact that of all the things that we gain, we did pure pirate ship in the past, and it's almost impossible to take anything or fight in arrow carts, or like when we push up with the cannons, pirate ships don't push the cannons. They just don't fucking do it. There's a lot of survivability there when we're fighting the Mad Cloud, and Mad Cloud is constantly bombing us from the sides and our people are not dying. There's a lot that we gain out of that. So when you're considering the wipes that we take, always try to weigh both sides of there. Because in the meta discussion, every once in a while we have a lot of people saying, oh, our meta's not working because we wiped to this scenario. You will never find a meta that will work on every single scenario head to toe. If you do, then you have a completely imbalanced game. While this is fairly imbalanced, we found a pretty happy medium, and we beat those pure pirate ships more often than not, and we survive in scenarios where those pure pirate ships simply cannot go. So that's a big deal, and that's something to definitely consider when we're working with those. Keep working on those meta builds, keep training, keep getting that stuff going. My dime cannon, you guys have been doing awesome. I've seen a huge amount of growth in the last week and a half. I want you guys to continue to work on it. For those of you who are unfamiliar with it, it is a group of 5 soul beasts who are using focus fire and call targets and things like that to burn individuals down. It has raised hell against the Mad Cloud. Yeah, there's a lot of push towards that, and thank you again to Hayabusa for getting that going. That's been huge. You had some big shoes to fill with Ballad vacating, and yeah, you're filling them very well. You're keeping the training going. You're sticking true to what I told you needed to be done. So keep that going, man. And awesome work to everybody who's helped support him. We need that kind of push in here to make things happen. A lot of people want to see something happen, but don't actually want to step up to it, and he did. Thank you guys, and to all my leaders who have stepped up to those roles that we need people to fill during those scenarios. Thank you. It's huge. Lastly, I wanted to throw out there is Serial's been doing some portal training. As you've noticed during our prime time, we've been using a lot more portals, a lot more, and we've been seeing a lot of interest in getting that. The problem is right now I'm the only commander who's really versed in using them, and Serial's the only portal mesmer who is versed in doing them. So right now, unless me and him are magically both on at the same time, we don't do portals. That is something we are changing, and so Serial has been working with portal mesmers, and anybody who's interested in it. I will tell you this: it is an extremely difficult job. It is not a job that you can do part-time. If you want to be, if you want to be as proficient at it as you need to be, that is not something you can just kind of half-ass. You need to dive headlong into it and push it hard. He has been doing those trainings. Do not try to entertain this until you've actually gone to one of his trainings. He announced it in the Mesmer chat, and feel free to hit him up with any questions you would have. But I want to see that part of our guild continue to grow, because that is one of those things where even if you're burning out on different aspects of it, I'm telling you, if you take on a challenge as strong as that, or the Dime Cannon, or one of these other groups, that can also help you manage that burnout as well. But at the end of the day, we need to make it to these finish lines, and I see way too many people just stop logging in, and I don't want to see that from the rest of you. So keep pacing yourself and keep having fun, because what are we doing here if we're not having fun? So that's it, guys. This is my first time doing a video meeting. So far, I mean, I'm sitting at 20 minutes right now, so it seems to be, at least from a time situation, a lot easier. What I'll do is I'll continue to monitor all of the comments. If you have questions, comments, concerns, things you need to say to me, things you want to just shout out to the guild in general, go ahead and throw them down here in these comments. And if you have a question, make sure you kind of put like in, Tukoron in all caps or something like that at the front of it, so that I can spot that easily. I'm not sure how many people we're going to have commenting. I'm hoping a lot, so that we can get a lot of information kind of disseminated quickly. It should also give you an opportunity to see how the rest of the guild is doing. So if you're concerned about what other people are doing, or how they're feeling, or that kind of stuff, then that should work as well. Thank you guys very much. Keep kicking ass out there. Keep showing up every day. And honestly, guys, like, the ability for us to not only do our jobs out there and kick ass, but to do it with some style and some grace that a lot of guilds do not have, is why we do this for a lot of us. There's a lot of kind of cancer and hate and just shit that goes on with these other guilds and the other servers and stuff like that. And TSYM has made a reputation of being an island away from that. That is no small thing, guys. And I want you, I just keep kicking ass, keep doing exactly what you've been doing, and let the haters hate. That's just how shit goes. Thank you, TSYM. I will see you on the field.